4 o'clock. I'll open the regular session of the Town Council. Would you all please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's just the front page. Yeah.
Okay, our first item tonight is public comment. It's about to receive public comment regarding the medical marijuana dispensaries. If you'd like to speak, I'd like you to please announce your name and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes if you can. Who would like to start? Go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Jan Wright, and I'm a proponent of medical marijuana. Marijuana helps, not hurts. Every 19 minutes, someone dies in our country from pharmaceutical drugs. I don't know of any deaths attributed to marijuana. I'm not aware of any. I don't get CNN, but the chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, has 2 important documentaries that document the medicinal impact of marijuana. What's interesting is that he was very much opposed to it initially until he started looking into it, and now he is really all for it. Revenue, besides the obvious revenue of taxes, it would free up our overburdened justice system and save billions on criminal prosecution and incarceration. Freddie Fender was busted for a joint in Louisiana and did 7 years in prison. And he's a recording artist. Think of the stimulus, economic stimulus of him producing his music would have been, instead of a drain on the taxpayer dollars. And also it's becoming a hot commodity on the stock market. People are looking into buying marijuana stock. And what is the face of a marijuana user? You know, we all know what the face of a meth user looks like. What does a marijuana user look like? You know, there is no public face. And lastly, well, not lastly, it could go on forever, but old school attitudes. How many of us remember Reefer Madness? Whoever saw that? It was a film made, I think, in the 30s by the government, warning us against the evils of marijuana, and it makes you go crazy and commit murder and jump out of windows, and you know, then you're shooting up hard drugs. Well, the fact is, it's pharmaceuticals that are leading our children into heroin and those narcotic drugs. It's not marijuana. So, I'm please asking, my oldest granddaughter, who's a college graduate, is a proud worker in a dispensary in Colorado Springs. I can't speak enough for it. I know so many people who have been helped tremendously with marijuana. And it's ironic that I just got a couple of albums, the old Woodstock albums, I ran across them recently. What a revolution. Not only did it bring forth our humanity about war and the inhumanity of war, but also the political prisoner that is marijuana. And they've been racist laws. You know, the first laws against drugs in our country were against the Chinese laborers, were against opium. And then what, marijuana was the Zoot Suit Rebellion, the Filipinos, the brown-skinned people, and on and on. So, enough said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
In Freddie Finder's words, wasted days and wasted not.
Mr. Schultz?
Name is Mike Schultz, excuse me, and I am an opponent of marijuana, any type, shape or form. Number one, people, we are completely forgetting the fact that it is against the law on the federal level. Federal law supersedes state level in all cases. Until the feds decide to do otherwise, it is against the law. Mr. Obama chose to direct his attorney general not to enforce marijuana laws, but the point remains, it is against the law. Two, when it comes right here in Lakeview, do we really want marijuana to be on the streets of Lakeview any more than it is now? I do not know where you may choose to, if you do decide to set up a dispensaries, but you want it around school, you want to put it next to your neighbor, do you want to be next to your house? The one-year moratorium is what should be done in this town until such time as decisions are made what to handle it on the higher level.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody else? Teresa?
I have a letter that I could read, and that would probably be quicker than me talking. Do I need to stand, or can y'all hear me?
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Teresa Decker.
Sir.
I'm a pharmacist, the legitimate kind that went to college and dispensed regular pharmaceuticals and not joints. So dear council members, I'm deeply concerned about the possibility of a medical marijuana dispensary locating in our area. Raw marijuana is not medicine. We don't have to smoke opium to get the benefits of morphine for pain relief, nor do we need to smoke marijuana, since we have legal FDA-approved marijuana in the form of a tablet. And we've had that for almost 30 years out there. It is dispensed by legitimate pharmacists who educate patients about their medication and the side effects of marijuana. Side effects such as anxiety, depression, detachment, euphoria, paranoia, decreased cognitive performance and ambition, decreased memory, decreased ability to control impulses, distorted perception of time, hallucinations, and other psychotic effects. The way to have medical marijuana is to do it right, through the scientific process, not through the ballot box, and not on the streets. Having a dispensary in Lakeview would encourage marijuana smokers to enjoy the good life of living in a small town right here. Our town would not benefit from an influx of people with the above side effects. These people would create workplace hazards and increase the risk of car crashes related to drug driving. Any employer and counselor should question marijuana users' ability to work safely and should recognize that their inability to work would increase the social services burden borne by hardworking, tax-paying Lakeview citizens. The majority of our citizens do not possess medical marijuana cards, so the greater good for the majority of our town must be given greater consideration over the good of a few individuals. I would hate to see Oregon end up like California, with thousands of marijuana storefronts, resulting in increased drug use and crime, including robberies and murders, and sending money and illegal narcotics to other states. In 2011, the dangerous operation of California dispensaries was identified by all 4 of California's U.S. attorneys and the California Association of Chiefs of Police. Medical marijuana has turned into a sad joke. A recent study found that the average patient was a 32-year-old white male with a history of drug and alcohol abuse and no history of life-threatening disease. In Colorado, the average patient is a 41-year-old male. Less than 2% of the cardholders there have cancer. Less than 4% of marijuana cardholders in Oregon have cancer. And 91% report using it to treat chronic or severe pain. There are many legal medications for pain, and research is ongoing. Oregon has allowed people to possess medical marijuana cards so that they can use this controlled substance. However, marijuana possession still violates federal law. A business that sells marijuana violates federal law. As elected officials, you have the duty to uphold prevailing laws. Federal prevails over state. This is the bottom line. A moratorium or ban on a dispensary is the correct decision to keep our small communities safe until the laws are clear and adequate regulations are in place and have been tested elsewhere. If you have any questions, my phone number is here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have for me now.
After everybody speaks, the council will discuss what's going on, but anybody else speak for or against? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna agree with Teresa on a couple things. I'm sorry, Cliff Hargis. I'm gonna agree with Teresa on a couple things. I think smoking marijuana has no medicinal marijuana, or no medicinal use at all. There is a pill called Marinol, and it is used for medicinal reasons. You know, like she said, we don't smoke opium for pain control. You know, we be smoking marijuana for any kind of reason at all. You know, the experience that I've had is, I mean, I've seen 18-year-olds that have ankle pain and they have medical marijuana cards, which just, it's a joke. It's really, it's a joke. And I forget the name over here, ma'am, but Jen had said that she doesn't believe marijuana has caused any deaths, and that's, I would object, you know, heavily. Marijuana is a controlled substance federally, and people are driving under the influence of marijuana just like they would any other controlled substance, so absolutely contributes to deaths via motor vehicles. As far as my own personal belief, you know, it's going to create, having a dispensary in Lake County is going to create a security issue for local law enforcement and just all of us in general. It's now going to become the focus of thief breaking in for large amounts of currency, and also just breaking in and burglarizing the facility for the marijuana itself, which has already been happening in Colorado and the other states that approve of it. So we're going to have issues on that level. I think the medical marijuana card, marijuana in general is a gateway drug. I mean, we have a problem in Lakeview right now already with our youth. If you're an adult and you have a medical marijuana card and you want to do that, in my opinion, that's your business. But when it's sold to the high school kids and then it's a gateway drug and it gets them into prescription pills, which I would agree is a big problem in the United States, I don't think we need that. And I think bringing a dispensary to Lakeview is going to cause havoc, quite honestly. And my experience also is the majority of those systems are corrupt. It's a very profitable business. I mean, you can grow a pound of marijuana for around $500. You can sell a pound of marijuana for $5,000. Just a few months ago, 100 pounds of marijuana came through Lakeview. That's a massive amount of profit. And yeah, I think the state would benefit with tax dollars on that, but I don't think that's the way we should do it. I think we need to look at a different angle on how to get those tax dollars. And I'm heavily opposed of bringing a dispensary to Lake County.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Shalene Valdez, and I live here in Lakeview, and I am a medical marijuana card holder. I have to sneak around to even try to find a grower. If we had it where I could go somewhere and buy my medicine, other than to a pharmacy, because my mother was a pill addict. I watched her cry to doctors for Vicodin, Valium, all kinds of medication. I'd rather do what God gave me to do, which He talks about in the Bible as a healing herb, and it does help. I have anxiety issues, I have broken back, I have fibromyalgia, I have arthritis, and I also have a lot of neurological damage. And this is the only way I can function. What about us? You're making us look like the criminals by saying kids can get a hold of it. If it's for adults, how would a kid get in? They get into strip joints with illegal stuff, but you gotta have somebody vigilant watching. That's my concern. What about me? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Frank?
I'm Frank Wong, and I doubt if any of you in here know, my wife has suffered from multiple sclerosis for over 45 years. It has virtually claimed the left side of her body. We have discussed for years whether she would smoke marijuana or not. She has said she doesn't want it. She and I are both opposed to having marijuana dispensers in the town of Lakeview. And so she asked me to say that she is also against this, and for those that it helps, I wish you well. Don't have anything against any of you, but we do not, she doesn't think it would help her. She's going through physical and speech therapy now, trying to get a little bit of relief. She either has to be moved with her walker a little bit. She can use it most of the time in the house, but if she goes out, she has to go in a wheelchair. So she has a need for some help, but we haven't found where that need is yet, and we are concerned that people that doesn't need marijuana will be getting it, and so we are opposed to one dispenser here in the town. I have a second topic, but I'll wait until this is over if you wish. I'd like to speak on something else.
To wait, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I skipped one point. Can I add on to mine?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm still clear part of this. One topic I didn't discuss was, I've talked to a lot of medical marijuana patients throughout the state, not just Lake County, and vast majority of them don't want the dispensary in town because they do want to keep the medical marijuana cards and grow their own medicinal use marijuana. They don't want to pay the taxes because it's a whole lot more expensive. So what's going to happen is we're going to have a dispensary and we're still going to have medical marijuana, and I think we're just going to have a big mess of crossover of lots more access to illegal use. I won't argue that there's probably some legitimate medical marijuana use. I don't think you need to smoke it, but that's besides the point. I think it's just going to put that much more medical marijuana out in the county. So I'm so opposed to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
One more comment?
Actually, the marijuana culture has been around for 50-some years. You know, Vietnam kind of opened up that whole culture. So it's been a thriving culture for 50 years. Let's bring it out of the closet. Let's make it more available. A lot of people who have voted against legalizing marijuana have been active in that counterculture trade, and they see legal marijuana as infringing on their business. Let's face it. Well, I don't agree with that, but you know, let's not cloud this over. And pharmaceuticals are the gateway to the other hard drugs, not marijuana. We start our children out on Ritalin and God knows what, from the cradle. You know, we're drugging our children, we're making them sick. So I will not accept that argument about marijuana being
We're just here for
gateway
input, it's
drug.
not,
Passionate.
whether you accept or don't accept, we're here for input from the general public, and we appreciate all your comment. Does anybody else have any more comments?
Sure.
Yes, sir?
My name's Ron Patterson, that's my mom there, and she does, and it helps her. But he says that it's gonna bring more marijuana in and allow kids to get it. Okay, where is the proof on that? Yeah, kids may get their hands on it, but they already get their hands on it without the dispensaries. One little dispensary is not gonna bring more access for them to go and buy it, because they're not gonna be allowed in. They're gonna have to have that medical card to get in. I mean, so I don't see how. I mean, there's already kids in this town that get it without that dispensary. They do meth. Meth is a bigger problem in this town. My sister is an addict. I know many people in this town who are meth addicts, but I don't see the big marijuana issues. Yes, people commit crimes with marijuana. They're going to continue doing it even when it's legal. I mean, if we regulate it, have the police officers watch it and make sure they're doing their jobs like they're supposed to as a dispensary, and I think it'll be fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? We're going to deviate a little bit from our agenda. I'd like council to discuss what we've heard here, but before we do that, council, I would like to let you know that I've had 8 emails addressed to the mayor's office. On those emails, I have had 5 that are against medical dispensaries and for a moratorium, and I have had 3 that are in favor of the dispensaries. So.
Were those included in our packet, Mayor?
No, they were not. These were sent emails to me, and I have not, I'll be happy to give you
I'd like
a
to see
copy.
some copies of
Or,
those.
yeah, I can read them real quick too. They're all very short letters. If you'd like that for the record, would you want me to do
Mayor
that?
Patrick, did you get any letters too besides just the emails? Or is there other letters you get from the public?
We have a few letters
Those
in our
are
packet
included
here.
in the
Oh,
calendar
okay.
packet.
Okay.
These are just things that came to my
I'm with you,
computer.
yeah, okay.
And the reason I had to print them off is home, because I can't figure out how to work my computer program here and make it print, so. Okay, I have, says, to whom it may concern, although it seems the way the world is legalizing drugs and sex is rampant and immorality has become the norm, Lakeview can rise above. As a mother of 6 children whom I love and strive to protect in every way, I implore the council and county commissioners to ban dispensaries from opening in Lake County. Let's keep our small town a wholesome community, one with family values. We as a family support any and all future bans of dispensaries and or legalization. Sincerely, Darwin and Candace Johnson. That's one of them. Please do whatever you can to not allow marijuana dispensaries in Lakeview. We need to do everything we can to reduce access to children, especially. Suzanne Stewart, science teacher. Hi, please close the marijuana dispensaries. That was H-I, not H-I-G-H. If it was people who really needed it, it would be different. But for the most part, these people on medical marijuana are just using it as a legalized form of drugs. Tammy Ledbetter. And then the other one that I'd received on an email was Teresa's, Mrs. Decker's email. I've got a couple that were 4. This says, hi, my name is, I'm not sure I've written, but Michaela Christensen. It's M-I-C-H-E-L-A. I think that we should allow dispensaries in Lakeview. If they are allowed, it would be so much easier for the medical patients to get their medication instead of having to travel for miles just to get what they need. Just imagine if you had to drive 2 hours just to get your prescriptions filled on your medicine. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Michaela Christensen. And one more says, why not a pot dispensary in Lakeview? Silly that we are even having this debate. Let's get these out of the shadows and into the legitimate light of day. Patty Baker. And this is one that you guys have in your packet from the other. Okay?
Patty
So-
Baker's is in the packet as well.
Pardon?
Patty Baker's is.
Oh, it is, okay. See, apparently some of these people not only emailed the mayor, but also town manager or something at the same time. So anyway, council, I'd like to open this up for discussion. I believe what we, when we tabled it at the last meeting, we were discussing whether to apply for a moratorium. And I'll just lead off on this. I personally still favor the moratorium. I believe that we should direct our legal counsel to write up something for us that's legal that we can use. The main reason is, you know, we've got a lot of our community that seems to be not favoring it, but by state law or by action, it looks like we're going to get it anyway. So before the council or the town, before we start setting our rules and regulations, there's only 3 things we can regulate anyway, and that's
Time, matter, and place.
right. So anyway, I believe for us to ask for a moratorium, let the state act on this, get more input from it and stuff. I believe that would be the smartest thing for us as a council to do. I'll open it up to anybody else's comments. Mike, Michael, Sharon?
Mayor, if I may, I think
Yes,
it's important
Mr.
to
Sims?
just make a comment. You were asked about other letters and so forth, but just for the record to note that you do have a letter that you received from Joyce Augustine. You have a letter from Gerald Stewart. You have Teresa's letter, you already read Patty Baker's letter. And those are the comments regarding the subject for today that are in your packet already.
Thank you. Council?
Yeah,
Michael, go ahead.
Because of access that I have to those that can prescribe medical marijuana, I went and asked about 50% of the physicians that can order, the PAs that can order this, and I also spoke to hospice nurses here and in Klamath Falls concerning what they feel about medical marijuana. I spoke with one physician who is in favor of medical marijuana, and he told me that there was one other. Otherwise, all of the physicians in this town are not in favor of medical marijuana. They believe that there are so many other medications that can be used, and of course, because of the fact that we are trained in allopathic medicine, we follow the drug companies rather than herbicides or herbals. So that would take care of it, yeah. I spoke to the hospice people here in Klamath Falls as well as here, and they have had patients that have had medical marijuana, and all but one of them in Lake County has used Marinol, which is the pill form of marijuana, and it's been used effectively. And the one person that used it just preferred to smoke. Spoke with another physician who felt that medical marijuana, if you do prescribe medical marijuana, the State Board of Medical Examiners suggests strongly that you can no longer give them opioids, the Percocets, the Percodans, and those kind of medications. Once you have gone on medical marijuana, that's the end. So you cannot go back. And you will have people who become resistant, or they're not getting the response that they think they should from the medical marijuana, and will go back and try to get an opioid, and they can't do that. So that kind of makes it something that's not a good use. Another medical individual that I spoke with said that he would not prescribe it, secondary to the fact that it's abused.
Okay. Any other council comments?
I don't think any one of us up here hasn't spent this last couple of weeks without people stopping us. I cannot get through the produce aisle at Safeway. A lot of concern, and I have to say mostly in support of the moratorium and opposed to any kind of dispensary, or if they a lot of people don't even know what the law is, and they just want it no. So we've all gotten that time and time again. When Mike and I were elected many years ago, we, after our first few sessions, we decided that our mission was not to make decisions that future councils had to change or make, that they were wrong and they were problems, and that we would try our very best not to make decisions that would harm some way our community later on. And I think I am in favor of the moratorium because it does give us a little more time to figure out what's going on, what the state position is going to be. I'm sorry for legitimate users of their marijuana cards, but I think we have to be very careful how we proceed.
Sandy?
Well, I've thought about this for weeks now, really, because one thing that comes to mind is the fact that if there is a dispensary, it is much more controlled than buying it on the street. That's a bigger problem than some of the things mentioned with the dispensary, I think, because it's illegal to do that. And the state law has some pretty strict requirements for who can open a dispensary and where, or not where, I guess, within like 1,000 feet of a school, et cetera, and libraries and other places like that. So, and I know there's a lot of conflict about it, And as far as kids are concerned, they get marijuana just like they get alcohol. And I noticed in the paper here, which is from February 5th of this year, a survey of high school juniors who admitted to using the listed substances 1 to 2 times within the last 30 days. And the local counties include Klamath and Lake counties are combined. But the biggest problem still seems to be alcohol use, which is 19.6% of kids had tried, juniors had tried that. Marijuana, 7.1%, which is in keeping with the state standard. But it's that, besides that point, you know, which is neither here nor there, I do not know yet. I'm gonna vote.
Hey, you know, and you mentioned a couple good points that were made from the audience. It is federally, I mean, against federal law to sell marijuana, you know. So I think until our state irons out the laws, what they're trying to do, what's taking place and everything, I personally, as I said before, I am in favor of a moratorium. Let's, I think in the next year, we'll have some answers to some of those questions. I want to make the best decision that we can make for this community. And there's a lot of variances here that we need to take into consideration. And again, you know, the people that use marijuana and say they need it medicinally, I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to argue that. I do come down in favor of the legal pharmaceuticals, you know, if there is something there. I don't know, I need more information on it, and I think the way to gain that is to have our legal counsel write us up something, apply for this moratorium, and make up, you know, we've got 1 year to make the best decision that we can possibly make, so.
One more quick.
Couple more comments, and then I'm gonna bring this to a close, yes.
The reason I went medical marijuana is I can't take anything. Doctor in town had me on oxycodone. It didn't work for me. I have intestinal removed, so I don't process pills correctly. That's the reason. You've got to stop and think about these people too. I mean, there's a lot of more health issues. And I would much rather eat it and smoke it than to take a pill, because God knows what man puts in it.
I understand, we just, as a council, we've got some tough
I
decisions
wanted to
here in
make,
front of us,
I wanted to make
and
that
I
point,
really
because
do
they keep
appreciate
saying the
everybody's
pharmaceutical, there's nothing, I don't process pills correctly. I can't take pills.
One more quick comment.
May I hope that the council in the town during this year's moratorium, that we spend time on education about it. I think Dr. Gupta's, I've heard his name, I never get to see him. Yeah, and he has a couple documentaries out. I'd love to see those. You know, different dispensary feedback from Washington and Colorado and whatever. It's moving, and you know, I understand the generational opposition to it. My husband was born in 1930, and he died of cancer, and he would never take marijuana because it was just ingrained in him. That's fine. I mean, I understand that. And we have a lot of old folks in this town who can't get over that. It's totally understandable. We realize that.
Okay,
You know?
I'm gonna bring this to an end right now, so.
Mayor, I wanted to comment as a counselor. I heard all the other councilors.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't know I missed you. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't jump to it too fast because I've already been outspoken on it. I do believe in medical marijuana. I think it has a medicinal use. I believe in pharmaceuticals, as we heard as well. I think that for everyone, their own choice, what works for them is what they should use. And they're both legal in the state of Oregon. We as a governing body here in the state of Oregon are under Oregon statutes. It's a statute that we're to oblige. And to be quite truthful, I feel that we've been misled by the League of Oregon Cities in a big way. They ask us to put a moratorium and now cannot answer the question of what they posed for every governmental leader in our state. And there's already been a lot of them that probably have stepped way out of line in voting on an issue of a moratorium, because a moratorium is to cancel something so that you can make a decision on what is at hand. You mentioned, Mayor, those three things that are at hand: time, place, and manner. Mr. Sims today, because I was totally upset in my regards, talking with the Oregon Health Authority, which is administering the whole program, they fell short. Even the director of the agency would not comment on the manner. They sent us to the organization that is a lobbyist organization, the League of Oregon Cities. They're not a governmental agency. They're a governmental lobbyist group that has forced every governmental leader in the state of Oregon to try to make a decision on something that they don't even know what to tell us to make a decision on, that being time, manner, and place. Time and place are all right. I can figure that out. They mean it. Is it going to be located within a school? I hear those, and I agree with every one of you who have those concerns. It's not going to be the children who are walking into these medical marijuana dispensaries. It's not recreational pot. It's not going to be everyone in the state of Oregon. It's only going to be these people that need medicine, that are able to walk into our corner pharmacy, Howard's Drugs, and have been able to, under legal prescriptions, get that. And through legal prescriptions that are made available through our Oregon doctors, as you said, there are some who do that, then it's asinine for us to assume that we can move forward when our own state government can't answer. And I've gone as far as every agency that I can try to get an answer out of, and none, am I wrong, Mr. Sims, can give me that answer. And so I can't see where I mean, I have my government ethics, and I don't know, maybe I'm late in filing it, but I promise you I'll file it and know that in my heart, my conviction is for supporting the state of Oregon and the statutes that I'm here to govern and to represent my constituents with, and not to become a moral police officer of someone that takes some type of medication. I don't care if it's Darvon or whatever. I don't want to enter into that contest, and it's not up to me to do so. And I'm sorry, I'm shutting my mouth.
No.
Enough said.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we will make a decision on anything that's under the new business part of our agenda.
It's under new business, I assume if you want to, Mayor, because I kind of did put on new business that you might consider at this point, you probably could decide what you want to do with regards to this at this point, and then we'll just go on with the meeting and folks can go.
Okay.
If that's okay with everybody.
Council, if that's okay with you, I don't know what you want to do, but I would accept the motion.
I would make a motion that we table it until the state of Oregon can give us some guidance on what they're asking us to do. Until then, we shouldn't move forward. I ask for that motion to be passed today by all of our councilors in regards to being ethical on the matter.
Okay. That's your conversation on that.
My motion is to table the amendment until we can get the direction from, not the League of Oregon Cities, that's all that's the only one that has been pointed out to give us direction. They're not a governmental entity. They don't run the state of Oregon. Until we can get that from the Department of Justice or from some firm agency, what are we doing trying to decide an issue that we have no idea what we're deciding?
Don't we have a deadline made
for a moratorium? Why set a moratorium when you don't even know why to set that moratorium? A moratorium is to set aside something so you can make a decision on why you're doing the moratorium. Well, there is nothing to decide.
The state's the one that gave us the April 1st.
No, May 1st. Okay, let me read. I need to read from the Oregon Health Authority what I received today, and this is what distresses me. Hi, Mike. Our agency email system is not able to send you or receive external email accounts today, which they had promised me I would get this description of what we're voting on before I had to be ethical.
Okay.
I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful today. This came from Karen Fish who's with the Oregon Health Authority, the person who talks to media and talks to communities. I introduced myself as a member of the media, as also a member of the town council who had to vote on this issue tonight. And I did this before today. It was not a last minute effort. I do suggest that you contact the League of Oregon Cities. This legislation was moved at their request. Sean O'Day is the chief legal counsel there, and I believe they provide advice about statutes to cities. The legislative director there, Scott Winkles, may be able to help you. You can reach him at his address and email and phone number. Alternately, you might reach out to one of our legislators or your legislators who sponsored Senate Bill 1531. She lists Senators Hansel, Senator Monroe, Senator Starr. They were all chief sponsors, and I think these are your best resources. When we're asked to make a decision and the administration of the medical marijuana dispensaries is under the authority of the Oregon Health Authority, and they can't answer that, and they send you to a non-governmental agency to get a description of where are we heading, folks? And it goes on and on. I've got more and I can share them with you, but I'm very distraught, and if I keep going, you will get tired of this. I've done a lot of investigation. I've got a lot of investigation.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, restate your motion, and we'll go.
I make a motion that we table the amendment until we can get a straight version from the state of Oregon on what we're supposed to be deciding on, and that is the criteria of time, place, and manner. They will not give you a description at this point.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to table as stated. I can't repeat everything that you said, I'm sorry. As stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Michael?
Aye.
Is aye.
It is.
Those opposed? I'm opposed.
I'm opposed.
Motion carries 3-2.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay? So it's tabled. All right, now, we're still in public comment. You folks are welcome to stay and enjoy the meeting if you'd like to, or
Have you had enough? Thank you
we're going to move into more public comment with Mr. Thornton and ATVs. So if you all want to leave, I'll wait a couple of minutes. And thank you all for your comments. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
I disagree with this.
Believe it never came to us. It shouldn't have come to us.
I don't like the moratorium.
Mike, you got one more meeting.
I don't like what we did tonight.
What side?
Yeah, cut it out.
Okay. All right. Would you shut the door? Mr. Schultz, thank you. Okay, we're still in public comment. Mr. Thornton, would you like to go ahead?
I officially hate you.
Pardon? You
I
officially
officially hate you.
hate Mickey?
Bringing me to this meeting.
Oh.
And have to sit there and all, huh?
Well, do you want anything
Don't
to
hate
smoke?
me. I didn't make up the agenda. Somebody could have put you first.
Right.
You got 2 minutes.
Oh. I'm here to request, as you all know, we have this big issue with the crossing of the state highway. We've got one manual that says we can do that, and then there's the Oregon State Police law book that he reads to me quite often that we can't. So we've investigated every direction, tried to find a niche that we can make it happen. Nothing works the way the law is written. But there's been an indication that because the state has already allowed crossings for snowmobiles, they've set precedents, and then we should be able to ask for the same. So what I'm asking the city council to do is to put together the powers to be for a one-time meeting to discuss all options for achieving that goal for crossing state highway. The person, Ken Bednar says needs to be there is Mike Stinson. Mike is in Klamath Falls. He has the knowledge of the laws and rules and regs to help us see if we can get anywhere with this. And I checked on his availability, and he's available this month
21st. And I was looking at possibly having a meeting with Mr. Yates, the sheriff, the chief, commissioner, and council member, and whoever else may be important to that, and along with the ODOT people, so that we can sit down and come up with a plan and get something going. We already have a large ATV group in the valley that is already tackling lobbying this law for the next session. So that's already going to be addressed as soon as it can, but it's later on in the year. So what we'd like to do is try to find a way to get this thing going now for Lakeview. So if that'd be possible, I'd like to put a team together and do that. And I was thinking 10 o'clock on that date. That would give Stinson time to drive from Climate Falls to get here. Mayor, could I ask if I could be put to some usage in regards to the ATV issue? Another issue that I followed closely and
You're so shy and you hold your opinions to yourself.
No, I opened the microphone a bit too much.
No, Mike, as a matter of fact, I was going to ask you, because this is very close to this.
Economic
Yeah, and I'd like to ask you if you would mind being the council representative on Rob's committee. I'd also like Mr. Sims to be on that if we could.
Yep. Anybody that has the power to be, that is going to be involved, needs to be there.
Okay, and I'd also offer the town's facilities here, either this room or the back room, to have that meeting on the 21st. Now, do you want the council to put something together? Are you contacting everybody? What are you asking?
Whatever you prefer. I've already contacted Tim and confirmed, I'll confirm right now that it is on that date. And then I've already talked to Mr. Yates.
Okay. If you don't.
Oh, I was just asking if you already contacted Stimson.
Tim did it.
Oh, okay.
Via internet there, he
Okay.
put a note.
Okay.
So supposedly everything's good.
If you don't mind, just keep coordinating that,
Okay.
and we'll get moving on this, because we don't want to hesitate. Did you mention a county representative?
I want a commissioner there.
Okay.
And of course the sheriff.
Okay, possibly the roadmaster even. Okay,
Good idea.
excellent. Okay, I think that's great.
Mayor, I just wanted to mention that I visited with Officer Steve Yates. My concern was that it was thrown out in one of our meetings that anyone that crossed the streets, the highways, would be ticketed. And Officer Yates assured me that that was not what he explained in his perception of the laws. He only attached or asked that that be attached through Chief Camp out of great concern of what we might be heading into because of Oregon statutes that we're supposed to so much follow. And so I'm glad to hear that Rob and the group that is working on economic development, because I think that's the main thing that we're missing out on already. There's already, I understand, groups that have looked at us, and I'm sure they've turned their head and said, well, it's not there yet. So I'm glad to see it's moving forward, and I was glad to hear from Officer Yates, his concern for our community not being just to ticket someone, that it needs to be addressed, as he felt, by the Oregon Department of Transportation, which when I read the Attorney General's opinion of such, it lies with ODOT and their designation of a particular crossing on a highway. And until we get that, we won't move forward anyway. And so I'm just glad to see you moving forward.
I think we're back on track. This should move into a one-time meeting, not a whole bunch of meetings to decide something, get it in, get it done, and we'll be in good shape. So, Rob,
we kind of delayed on everything, waiting for the Attorney General and the town attorney to talk. And so that's why I've been laying kind of low, but we got our answer, so.
I do want to report on that, and John couldn't be here tonight, but he did talk to Mr. Ruby, who was the author of the AG's opinion. And after their discussion, John did tell me that he understands the Attorney General's position and now agrees with what he had written there. The Attorney General also wanted, he's supportive of the concept and what's trying to be done, but his job is to look at the Oregon law, and the Oregon law says otherwise. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Be in touch, yes. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for your time.
See ya.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move. Yes.
Frank had
Frank had
another
something.
issue.
I'm sorry, Frank, it was public comment, you had another comment you wanted, thank you.
Yes. You have all been aware that from a month or so back that the fire department has a house they're gonna burn down. And that house they're gonna torch it Sunday morning if the weather permitting. That house is directly across the street from my house. And I understand that after the house is burned, the owner has 6 months to get rid of whatever's left, and I don't know for sure with how much of the concrete that consists of or so forth. And 6 months is a long time, and you may not know you have anonymous fire people. Some of them agree that 6 months is too long for them to clean it up. They have had a minimum of 3 training sessions up there, and I'm very happy to see that they've had the opportunity for that. But I hope that the owner will, when after this is burned down, that somehow he can be prodded. In my opinion, I'm just acquainted with him. I do not really know the person per se to get down to that, but I've just got a hunch that he's not going to be too eager to go in and get rid of what's left. And so if
My understanding, Frank, is once we're done, he's gonna have a backhoe go in there and level it all off, and there's a hole in the backyard that's gotta be filled up because the septic collapsed, so it should be pretty much cleaned up.
are they gonna leave the driveway and the sidewalk, or do you know?
I would imagine the sidewalk and the driveway will be left there. I don't know if he's gonna, we started this process as far as having them clean up the lots when, several years ago when we had some of these burn alarms, we'd go and burn a piece of guy's property and we had pipes sticking up in the air and they just didn't touch it. Our idea was to give them a reasonable amount of time to level the land, kind of get all the ashes out of there, all the pipe stubs and things like that, so it should be a flat lot in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, well, the foundation, and it's got a chimney, so you got the brick.
Yeah, all that'll have to be removed.
You got a stoop that's higher than the sidewalk, and so we can.
Yeah, all that'll have to be removed where it's just a clean lot again.
But
the driveway, I can't
Yeah, I was
say
kind
on
of
that.
understand it, it's all to be removed. It was a time frame that I was interested in, that I have been sitting there looking at for 40-some years.
I think we can probably keep an eye on things, and if it gets to be a problem or it's too long, there might be something that we can do to assist you so you don't
If he's
have
got the
to.
6 months, then I can see, even though with some prodding, well, I've still got a couple of months left yet, but
We understand your concern.
so I would appreciate anything you could get there.
Is
I could-
it, once we do something like that, is it pretty much burned to the ground where there's not anything left around to harm people?
Generally, it's pretty much consumed.
Okay, that's, I was thinking.
We'll have pipes and stuff and like the chimney and things like that. We generally knock those over so they're not gonna fall on somebody, and we'll make the lot where it's safe.
Okay.
The foundation will still be there. There might be a few pipe stubs, but he'll get right on that, I'm sure. I know him well enough, I can poke him.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go ahead and move into communications, comments, and informational items. Any comments from the council?
Also, I would just add that, I guess it's kind of a manager update too, but it's, there also is an air quality meeting tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock here in Lakeview at the senior center, which will be the third in a series of 3 that we had planned to have, so.
Okay, department reports. Let's see, who do we have? No Chief Camp, no Scott Utley. Dennis, do you have anything to add to your report?
Well, this haven't.
Nothing further.
Okay, Mr. Wilkie?
We've been here long enough, I'm not gonna add to your misery.
Okay, Mr. Sims, do you have anything to add?
No.
To add, is there a written?
Pardon?
There is one in there somewhere? My report.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, it got buried under something else, was in the record. You're off the hook,
All right,
and I actually read it before.
we'll go ahead and move into the consent calendar then. I have one comment on March 25th, 2014 work session minutes. You need to change public present to Brad and not Bran.
Brad?
And the consent calendar?
Pardon?
On the work session?
Yes, it's on the work session, it's that first page of the work session.
Oh,
Any other comment, corrections from the council? If not, I'd entertain a motion
I would move that we approve the consent calendar
with corrections.
with corrections, excuse me.
I have a motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar as presented with corrections. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Mayor council updates. I got a couple things here. Number one, I'd like to show you guys this really nice thank you card I got from the Finetti family for their wee leprechaun. That they appreciated us, the candy box and the key to the city, but I thought that was very nice of the family to send this. So, and not only that, I got a bonus picture of the Grand Marshal too, or the Grand Leprechaun. There will be air quality PM 2.5 meeting tomorrow night, Wednesday, at the Senior Center from 6 to 8 o'clock. Myself and Mr. Sims will be there, and you're all certainly welcome. There is also a county-sponsored meeting tonight at the Westside Grange Hall, just to kind of incorporate those folks into some of the things that they're doing, and most importantly, not doing on the west side. I hope that's a well-attended meeting tonight too.
Is that at the actual union school?
Oh, it's at the Union School, not the, okay. And another more misinformation. Okay, stand corrected. And this probably isn't council business or whatever, but I have tickets for the rifle that we're auctioning off. For the proceeds will go to the track chair for our wounded vet. If any of you are interested in raffle tickets, I have them, and that's all I got. What?
I don't want a ticket, I won one rifle and a ducks and one thing, I have no idea what to do with it.
Oh, talk to me.
It's for sale. I don't have anything to report, but I have a lip sync meeting tomorrow, and I think Saturday market's gonna be getting started pretty soon too.
I am continuing to work with the group of ladies on the schmink. We haven't had much. Our feeling was, after realizing that the ladies had said one thing to Ray and Ken and one thing to their own committee and the other thing to the foster ladies who are related to Hoover Schmink, that what we're trying to do is to get a definite commitment that says you have to raise X amount of dollars for us to keep it open. That's what Louise and Shireen are going to try and do through the auspices of their community. And I have applied for a grant to give us some seed money. They're waiting to hear about that so that we can do some fundraising activities and a little bit of lobbying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michael?
A couple of things. There's the local gun shows next weekend. Those of you that are interested in going to that. Those of you that miss it the following week, you can go to Reno, and it'll be a big one. And also tonight is the Ag Advisory Board meeting. It's the first one they've had all year, so interesting to see what that comes from. That's it. Oh, and I guess we're continuing town negotiations tomorrow.
When's your next negotiating meeting?
Tomorrow. Noon tomorrow.
Noon tomorrow, okay. Mike?
Mayor Betty Riley with SCOED, talked with her last week and we'll see her again tomorrow in a meeting, but she informs me that they have had, there's some interest in the position for the SCOED Lake County representative. And so I think there'll be a meeting to kind of review those applications here soon and hopefully something will be decided on. There'll be some good applicants, I don't know.
Ray?
Also, Mike and I have had a meeting, we're gonna have another meeting in the morning at 8, a conference call, I think it will be, but with regards to the Red Rock fuel and the enterprise zone benefits that they're looking for. We are somewhat distance apart, I would say, at this point at least, as to what we all seem to feel comfortable with locally. But so that continues. I think that's probably all I want.
Well, just one question.
Sure.
Is there anything you can mention about pool applications or anything like that, hires, or where we're at that?
Yes, two things. You know, we advertised in February and the early part of March for pool manager. We had one application from Samantha Gallagher. Mike and I interviewed her the week of spring vacation, I guess it was, that she was home. And again, she was our only applicant, so she's been offered the job. She has to, of course, become a certified pool manager, which will probably help a lot with the things that need to be accomplished at the swimming pool. So we've done that, and we will start to advertise at the end of this month, although we do have a number of applications we've already received for lifeguard, but mostly returning people, but we actually haven't opened for that yet, but we will here soon. We do have lifeguards that are qualified, so we'll be able to have lifeguards at our grand opening on the 31st.
Excellent.
Two things that we need to work on. I've been kind of focused on cleaning out or finishing up our geothermal project and also budget at this time. Labor negotiations is taking a little bit of time too, but we need to have a couple of meetings about, one, we need to plan a pool party, whatever that's going to be for the 31st. And pardon?
But this month?
No, 31st of May.
Okay.
April
Thank
only has
God.
30 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, oh
And that was the original date that the pool was opened, is that?
In 1953, 52?
52.
52. And then the other one is, and if you recall, now her name skips my mind, I don't recall. Kelly McGarvey was here talking about the 4th of July stuff, and we need probably to get together with some of us, with Dawn and Moore from the fairgrounds and Thule and maybe others, and see what we're going to do about getting funding together for this year's 4th of July fireworks and that stuff. So those are a couple things that are on my list of things we need to do.
Okay.
To manage Europe.
Thank you. No? Nothing? Okay. We'll go ahead and move into, we have no old business, we'll move into new business. First item is the medical marijuana dispensary moratorium, and we took care of that in our public comment, so I'll go ahead and move into item B, which is ordinance number 847, amending the comprehensive plan map and zoning map of the town ordinance number 776, Kelly zone change. So, Mr. Sims, do you have any?
Just to remind you that this was, you had your public hearing at your last meeting and directed legal counsel to prepare the ordinance that actually puts in place the zone change that you have recommended approval of. And this is that document.
Any comment or anything from the council? Okay, this is an ordinance, so I'll need two motions on this, one to read by title only, and then we'll go from there, so.
I move the council vote on ordinance 847 by title only.
Second that.
Can I ask a quick question?
Certainly, comment.
We gave the ordinance that we were working on 847 in a previous, and
I didn't
does that
decide
just
to
go
do
waiver?
it, no.
Okay, okay, that's all right, that's all I was wondering.
Yeah, I guess we don't have action.
They're pending until it's actually
Okay,
adopted.
okay, all right.
Okay, all right, I have a motion and a second to read ordinance number 847 by title only. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimous. Go ahead.
I move that the council vote on the adoption of ordinance number 847 by title only, by an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan zone, plan map and zoning map of town ordinance number 776.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 847 and ordinance amending the comprehensive plan map and zoning map of the town ordinance number 776. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Just a note to the council that this ordinance will take place in 30 days, being a non-emergency ordinance. Okay. Is there any other business before the council? If not, I will adjourn the council meeting at 5:06. Thank you all.
Thank you.